have done an incredible job preserving not only the building, but the rich history of Cuero. The townspeople and visitors truly have a gem to rediscover, and the artists, a grand place where to showcase their works of art. Robert Oliver is passionate about preserving not only the buildings, but the countryside where cowboys and cattle still roam the plains. He and George Bishop welcomed us in H3 All Access to their ranches so we could see firsthand the beauty of the land. I had a special guest, Mykel Hawke of Man, Woman, and Wild, to discuss how hard it would have been to survive the Chisholm Trail in the late 1800s, plus our new project together and what he has in the works. Take a look. So, Mykel, how difficult would it have been for someone to survive out in this terrain?
Oh, it would have been very difficult, Nellie, because the bottom line is they didn't know what to expect out here. It was unfamiliar to them coming from Europe, so it would have been a big challenge.
What if one of those wagon wheels came off? Because now it seems like, oh, you have a jack, you just jack up the wagon, put the wheel on. But how realistic and how hard was it for them back then to do something like that?
Well, and that's exactly why it was such a difficult journey, because that one task alone would have probably taken them maybe 2 days, because they would have had to gather up enough rocks to actually lever that thing up, then be able to take the wheel off, find the wood, repair it, put it back on, and then continue and feed themselves and protect themselves along the way.
And that's another question. Food. I mean, you know, now we know with modern technology how, you know, long it's going to take to travel from point A to point B. But then, if they hit the mark, or they didn't hit the mark as far as their destination was concerned, how deadly could that be for them?
Well, in terms of actual timelines, it's not that dangerous, because when they go out there, it's going to take months, not days, not weeks, months to make the trek. So they're going to live off the land the best they can with the provisions they have and hunting along the way. However, the time of the year, if they get that wrong, or the winter comes early, or their summer sets in fast, that could kill them.
What provisions would they have taken with them, and once they run out, what do you do?
Well, traditionally, they would have gone in with a lot of hardtack or sort of a flour-based bread that's very hard, would last a long time, like a cracker, and they would have had a lot of beef jerky. So they would have had, in essence, what they needed, and a lot of pickled eggs, things they had vinegar in those times. But they would have gone for a lot of fresh meat if they found it. But again, that's hunting and cleaning and preparing and smoking so that the meat would preserve. It'd take a week of just doing one deer.
And Mykel, walking through all this thick brush, how difficult was that?
Well, for navigating back in those days, it would have been extremely difficult because they didn't have maps. They barely used compasses. It was mostly going by the sun. And so they would come across patches of wood like this, and they would have to go around or try to go through, depending on how big it was. And that could get them stopped for days.
This train is unbelievable. And I'm already getting so thirsty, and I can't believe this was a creek.
That's a fact, and that's one of the big dangers that they face. If they came at the wrong time of the year in the rainy season, then they get stuck in the mud, and they might actually have to wait for months before they can get out. They come too late in the season, and they get this right here. All the water, bone dry, dead without water.
What would you do then?
Well, basically, for the humans, for the horses, for the cattle, it's a death sentence.
That was a beautiful sunset.
Yes,
and
it was.
Today has been amazing. Thank you for being here. Cuero wouldn't be the same without you and all the exciting stuff that you bring. So tell us, I mean, from the last time that you came on the show, everybody's been dying to know what you're up to.
Okay, well, a couple things. Doing a new show for Outdoor Channel called Elite Tactical Unit, where I'm the mission commander, and I have 2 team leaders from Warriors from History, Terry Shepard, American Green Beret, and an SAS guy from the movie Proof of Life, and we are basically putting 14 SWAT guys from around the country through a competition. It's a really good show. And then the next thing I'm doing with my wife is a new show for the Travel Channel. Basically, we're being dropped off in the middle of nowhere. We have to figure out where we are and how to get out. So that's going to be a real challenge. We have a couple of films in the pipeline, as well as a whole new product line. So we're really excited. Being dropped in the middle of nowhere without, you know, knowing where you're going, is that terrifying? I mean, it may not be for you, but for your wife, how is that? How does she handle all that? No, it's pretty terrifying in a lot of ways, because we won't know where we are, and if we go the wrong way, it's going to become a very miserable experience. So it's going to be a challenge.
Well, we can't wait to see it. When is it going to come out?
It'll start airing this summer. We start filming in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. So, guys, you heard it here. Remember, you can go to our website, find this information.
www.mykelhawke.com. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Cheers.
Salud.
I'm Mykel Hawke, Mr. Survival, and you're watching H3 All Access.